Alright guys, welcome to the final part to What If I Was in Dragon Ball. I really enjoyed making this series. I hope you enjoyed watching it. With all that being said, let's get to it. Cut to Zeno, who is extremely bored. However, Goku came back and reminded him of the Tournament of Power, so he decided to call Whis and Beerus and get it set up. After that happens, we cut to me. I start to train like I've never trained before, but I can't push myself beyond Ruby. Ever since I fought my future self, I saw how powerful I could become. But could I ever reach a level like that? Do I need Beerus to reach a level like that? Should I ask him? I mean, Beerus used to not be that fond of me, but I feel like we've grown past that, at least a little bit. Suddenly, though, Whis and Beerus would appear behind me. I would look at him and go, "What is it now?" Beerus would say, "It's another tournament. This one's more serious. If we lose, our entire universe will be erased." I was shocked to hear this. A battle where if I lost, everything was gone. My son, my friends, everything. Not even dead, but erased. There's no afterlife. I took a big gulp and nodded. Beerus said, "Get ready to fight." As Beerus and Whis left, I went back and got Broly and began to travel to Earth. As Broly was going to take the place of Master Roshi since Master Roshi was quite old. We all got there and were ready to go. As we all went there, we began to look around and we see all the other teams, and we saw the Grand Priest staring at us, and the Grand Priest was ready to start off this tournament. The tournament began as Universe 9 took a gamble and went after me and Vegeta. As me and Vegeta were caught up in the trio of danger and all of the wolves and all of their powers came straight at us, Broly was left alone. And Broly didn't really know what to do. He ran to try to find another teammate, but as he was running, suddenly someone would catch up to him. It was the Pride Troopers. The Pride Troopers would surround Broly and begin to beat him up, but as they did this, he went angrier and angrier till he went into his Akare form, and he flew at one of them, kicking them off the edge, and began to fight all of them, and pushing them further and further. However, this got the attention of Toppo. As Toppo went close, Goku ran in and grabbed Broly, beginning to run out, but Toppo jumped in the way. So Goku had to go blue and began to fight Toppo with everything he had, both of them pushing each other further and further. As the battle went on, me and Vegeta began to destroy the Ninth Universe, kick member after member, fighter after fighter off. Suddenly, the Ninth Universe was erased as we all watched. But something felt off. The other fighters, they were strong, but they didn't feel like the real threat to me. I don't know, just something felt weird. As the battles kept going, eventually, Broly would be separated again, and Kale and Caulifla will find him and begin to battle him. Broly was angered by this. He was angered of getting pushed around. He wasn't a fighter. All he wanted to do was just be himself, but he didn't even know who that was, because he was forced to fight his entire life. Anger just kept boiling and boiling and boiling until he transformed to a Super Saiyan, combined with his Akare form. As he charged straight at Kale and Caulifla, began to beat them up, destroy them, as they felt the pain course through their body. As they felt them bodies start to bleed, they tried to talk to him, but Broly was just an angry beast. Suddenly, Champa knew what he had to do. "Put on the earrings," he said, as suddenly Kale and Caulifla put on the earrings and became Kefla. Kefla and Broly began to battle. At first, Kefla was far stronger than Broly, but as they kept fighting, he kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. She knew he had to knock him off the edge, so began to charge up a massive Ki Blast to blast him with everything she had. As she was charging, she blasted the Ki Blast straight into Broly's face, and it started to knock Broly off the edge. But right before he was knocked in the edge, he screamed in anger, he screamed in pain, and he screamed in power as he began to push it back more and more. As he walked further and further, the Ki Blast was pushed back. Kefla put all of her strength into this Ki Blast, but Broly just screamed as he ran straight through it and punched her straight off the edge. This used so much power, though, that he was passed out. Two Namekians would show up to throw Broly off the ring, but suddenly an arm stretched out as it grabbed Broly and put him with Gohan. Then Piccolo jumped in. As the two Namekians looked at Piccolo, they said, "You really think you could take us on? We absorbed every Namekian on our planet." Piccolo then begins to laugh and says, "So you thought that was the answer, to give up some of your personality? I've done that before. However, I found that there was a strength beyond that, a strength that you can only achieve through unlocking your potential." Both of them looked confused as suddenly Piccolo turned orange. As they were shocked, Piccolo stretched out his hands, punching both of them, sending them flying, as they both got up, ready to fight Orange Piccolo, but Orange Piccolo fought them both. Frost saw this and knew he had to help, so he began to run in, but suddenly I would jump in the way. "You going somewhere?" But then Frost would smirk and say, "I have something to deal with you." "Oh yeah? What is that, cheating like you did last time?" Suddenly, Frost would turn gold. As he turned gold, I would say, "I'm impressed with you, Frost. You must have worked hard to achieve that form." "Did you absorb a star?" "No, I simply trained. I don't have as a low potential as you. All I needed to do was train for months on end, intensely, like I've never had before. You taught me the value of hard work, so I'll work hard to take over my universe," he said, as he began to laugh maniacally. But I said, "Well done." But as I turned gold, I said, "My form's still stronger than yours," and I punched Frost, but then Frost punched me, as we both began the battle further and further. But suddenly I tapped into my ruby form as I hit Frost, as he almost flew off the edge. Right as he was about to fall off the edge, though, something happened. The entire ring began to shake. As suddenly, Zeno would yell out in excitement, "Yes, yes, it's happening, yes!" Suddenly, the big Getty star would land on the ring, as Cooler would walk off with Mecha Zero. Zeno, everyone would look confused, as the Grand Priest would explain, "Everyone, time out. You need an explanation. You see," the Grand Priest would then explain that Zeno heard about this other timeline through time travel, and he was disgusted by it. So disgusted by it, he was going to wipe it out completely. However, when he visited it, he found a man that he really liked. A weird metal man made out of some spaceship material. And Zeno got along with him quite well. So well, he decided to let him defend his entire timeline. However, if he loses, his timeline will be erased, along with Cooler. Now, his team has 9 players, 8 versions of him, and 1 Cooler. Knock them all off, and it loses, just like a normal team. You may continue. As we were told to continue, me and Frost continued the battle when I was beating up Frost, but suddenly, a tail would grab Frost and throw him off the edge. As it was Cooler, he walked up to me and said, "Hello, it's weird to see an alternate version of your dad." "What? That's impossible. I had Cariza, not you." Cooler laughed and said, "Once he became a machine, android, whatever you want to call it, he collected DNA from across the universe. And he found DNA from Frieza. Even though he was a rotten corpse, there were still some, and from King Cold. He took out all the potential and got rid of all the bad genes, and put it in a tube and made me. Then, since he knew the turn power was going to happen in advance, he put me in a time chamber, and began to train me for months on end. Months in the real world, but years. Years passed as I grew up training, I grew up fighting, I grew up with one purpose: to win this tournament and save my timeline. I know my father wasn't always the best, but he's changed now, even if he won't admit it. And I'm not here to cause pain or torture. I'm here to win," Cooler would say, as he went over and punched me in the face, and I punched him, and we began to battle, pushing each other further and further, until we both turned gold and the stadium shook. Meanwhile, we cut to Jiren, as Jiren suddenly gets punched by a Mecha Zero. As Jiren goes full power, Mecha Zero just goes into his platinum form and punches him and begins to beat him up, brutalizing him and laughing. "Ahaha. You see, I used to enjoy causing pain, but now not so much. I just wanted to test it out one last time. Sorry about that. With my infinite stamina, you really didn't have a chance." He pulls out his arm and blasts Jiren off the edge. Topo sees this and begins to run away. But then Mecha Zero grabs him. He's about to swing him off the edge, but then he gives in and becomes Topo, the god of destruction. Suddenly, Beerus would get up and say, "Listen, all of you, all of these teams, we need to team up. It's the only way we can defeat them." They all nodded as all the teams came together to fight. As I was battling Cooler, Cooler would show off his black form and punch me right off the edge, but suddenly, Piccolo's arm would stretch out and grab me and pull me back up. Pepperoni would turn into a giant android as he began to charge up a Ki Blast, and we all began to charge up a Ki Blast. So did Cooler with Mecha Zero. Both teams blasted each other. All of the teams united against Mecha Zero and Cooler, as they both went into an epic beam struggle, hitting it with all they got, hitting it with every single thing they had, pushing it further and further and further. As the beams collided, suddenly a massive explosion went across the ring, knocking out so many people. The only ones who were left were Cooler, Topo, Dispo, Vegeta, me, and Piccolo. As we all got up, barely able to move, we saw Cooler. He was hanging on by a thread. He was able to grab the ring with his tail and pull himself up. He looked up as Dispo ran as fast as he could. "You will never catch me," but then he turned black only for a second and knock him off the edge and turn back to normal. He had to turn it on and off. He knew he couldn't use up too much stamina. He'll have to use it savingly. I noticed this, and I said, "He's almost out of stamina." Piccolo said, "We are too. We're gonna have to take him on." Right. Me and Piccolo began to charge. As God of Destruction, Topo began to fire Akai after Akai, but Cooler dodged every single one of them. But he was simply making him use more and more energy, so he couldn't really fight back. As suddenly, me and Piccolo grabbed onto him. As Vegeta yelled out in anger and yelled out in pain, saying, "I am not someone's lackey. I am tired of the Green Man being ahead of me. I am tired of a Frieza race being ahead of me. I will fight to save my universe." As suddenly, he went Blue Evolution and fired a massive Big Bang attack. As me and Piccolo held him back, holding Cooler so Vegeta could knock us both off. Cooler began to swing, but suddenly, Cooler grabbed us both and threw us at the Big Bang, jumping out of the way just in time for us to get knocked out. Then, he threw at Vegeta, turning black to knock him out. Our universe was erased, and it was him versus Topo. Topo, in his God of Destruction form, blasted a mighty Akai straight at him as it hit him, but he grabbed the Akai and he managed to shrink it down into nothing, then knocked him out. All the universes were erased, except for Cooler's timeline. The Grand Priest came down and said, "What wish do you have?" And Cooler wished to bring back all the other universes. Then suddenly we were brought back. As we were brought back, we were all celebrated. And Mecha Zero went up to me and said, "I'm sorry for the way I acted. Raising a son through all those years in a time chamber made me realize how much of a fool I've been. It made me realize all I really wanted was a friend and someone to hang out with, and I finally got that. I would forgive him." As the tournament ended, we cut 10 years in the future. And I'm with Kuriza, training him as Kuriza turns gold, and I'm so proud of him. But then I turn black and say, "One day, son, you'll reach this level." Vegeta learned Ultra Ego and eventually became a God of Destruction. Me and Kuriza ruled the universe as father and son, but not as a militaristic way, as an economic way, and of a way of peace. Mecha Zero found peace himself with Kuriza, and everyone lived happily ever after. And that's where I end things off. Hope you all enjoyed this series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, I decided to bring Cooler in last second, and I changed his backstory. I hope that doesn't make you mad. I decided to, since Piccolo was already very strong, and I had like in my new form, I wanted to make the Tournament of Power an actual challenge, so I decided to interrupt it. Hope that didn't make you mad. Hope you didn't unsubscribe because of it, but I think it went well. Did you think it went well? Let me know in the comments below. And this is officially the last episode. I really enjoyed this series. I had a lot of fun making it. But soon it'll be What If Hercule Wasn't a Fraud will be the next series, which will be What If Hercule Actually Was the Strongest in the Universe. So, hope you all will enjoy that series. Hope you all enjoyed this series. With that being said, peace out. Love you all. And if you like this video, check out my What If Goku Turned Evil series. What If Goku Was Born Evil. I really enjoyed that.